We've known for a while that Donald Trump will have a relationship with the press different than any other in history. And in the 73 days since his election, there have been plenty of bracing reminders for the media. The next 4 years could be tough. Adam has more.
Taken in isolation, Donald Trump's decision to ditch the press pool Wednesday before grabbing a bite at his D.C. hotel might not be a big deal. After all, sometimes a president-elect wants to eat a steak in relative peace and quiet. Thing is, that wasn't the first time Trump has given the press the slip. And it wasn't his only pre-inaugural jab at the media. After NBC News reported that Trump was exaggerating his effect on the economy, Trump lashed out on Twitter and defended that MO in a chat with Fox News.
I don't like tweeting. I have other things I could be doing. But I get very dishonest media.
Also raising eyebrows, a report that the Trump administration might move the daily White House press briefing out of the West Wing, with a senior Trump source saying of the media, they are the opposition party. That plan was scrapped, though the future remains murky.
We said we're going to move it to a larger room, and the press went crazy. So I said, let's not move it. But some people in the press will not be able to get in.
All in all, it was still more confirmation that the new president doesn't hold the people who'll be covering him in high regard. If it's any consolation, Barack Obama had some words of encouragement for journalists in his final presidential presser.
So America needs you and our democracy needs you.
But right now, there's no indication that President Donald Trump feels the same way.
So, Adam, there's been a lot of editorials written recently. Margaret Sullivan, Eugene Robinson from the Washington Post, about how it's really going to be vital for the press to just hunker down and keep remembering all the things that he said and did over the course of the campaign, remembering all the said and said, and not just sort of wipe the slate clean and start this all over again.
It's going to be interesting to see which outlets do that, and some I think already are. I'd put the Washington Post high atop the list. There's also sort of a competing impulse in the media. I think a lot of us have thought, we didn't see this coming. We didn't realize that there were these frustrations out there that he was able to parlay into election as president. So what we need to do a better job of is being empathetic, listening to the people who supported him. And those things sort of, there's a tension between them. You can do both at the same time, but they run in different directions. It will be interesting to see where the emphasis is from media outlet to media outlet.
I think that, the press and the Trump administration are going to have an adversarial relationship, but that's as American as apple pie. I mean, the press is supposed to be adversarial, and the administration, can fight back.
Yeah, but will they be punitive like we saw him?
Well, I don't think it's punitive, for example, to move the press pool out of the White House.
To ban somebody from coming in.
Well, it's not a matter of banning. It's a matter of there are 49 seats, and if you want to open those, if you wanted to open them up to Emily Rooney and local media as opposed to the big national people.
But he may take some credentials away from people is what I'm getting at, if he doesn't like the things they're saying.
If he targets people as individuals, that would not be right. But if he decides he wants to reach out to local media instead of the big national people, or bring in online sources instead of, CNN, ABC, CBS, that's his prerogative.
The question of Trump's relationship with the media has been a big issue since he won, and we continue to hear too much about access issues. This seems to be what everybody's worried about. Don't kick us out and put us in another building. Before you know it, we'll be hearing an argument over the guest list to the White House Correspondents Association dinner. This is not how Trump is going to be covered. Jack Schaefer, of Politico, who is a good guy, although I don't always agree with him, he wrote a very good piece this week saying that this could kick off the golden age of journalism. The heck with access. Start digging. Start digging. This is the Trump administration for journalists is going to be a target-rich environment, and no good stories are going to come from being able to stand up and say, Mr. President, I have a question for you.
The current president of the White House Correspondents Association, Jeff, I can't remember his last name, sent an open letter to him saying, okay, understand which way we're coming from, Mr. Trump, and we're going to, just because you ditch us doesn't mean it won't get covered, doesn't mean it won't turn up, doesn't mean we won't dig. So I'm with you on that.
National Press Club, Jeff Blue. that right?
No, no.
Anyway.
Jeff Ballou is head of the National Press
Yeah.
Foundation, but no, this guy is head of the White House Correspondence. In fact, Obama made a joke and said, "Oh, I thought you were going out with me at the thing," and he said, "No, I'm still here." Anyway, so he's been pushing back hard against the, are you getting rid of the briefings, all of the kind of traditional things that we have come to expect. You know, I'm with you, Dan. You know, I don't mind him. It's not my business anyway, but I mean, it's not, if he's going to change some of the arrangements like that, that's not the issue. The issue is not responding to, for example, someone that's supposed to cover you, like the pool. That's not right. Lying, that's not right. I mean, we're going to call you on that. But changing some of the stuff that goes around the edges, you know, let journalists come up with how to cover him differently.
They don't
if that's
have a
the way,
right to have
you know.
offices at the White House.
Well, I'm saying that's not my issue. Right. My issue is his pushing back in a way, as Emily brought up, about blackmailing people or blacklisting.
I
don't think anyone's been
I think
black.
there's going to be some behavior like former Mayor Bloomberg. He used to ditch the press all the time and, you know, take off
Yeah,
on
there
the
probably will
weekends.
be. I got to say that I talked about the media's ambivalence when it comes to Trump and his supporters. I think that Trump himself is deeply conflicted when it comes to the press. On the one hand, when he gave that first press conference in a half year, whatever it was, he packed it with paid aides who shouted down the press or applauded approvingly when bad things were said about them. On the other hand, it is so clear, and has been for so long, that he craves the approval of prestige media outlets.
Exactly.
So we're going to see that sort of back and forth throughout his presidency.